The moment you open your mouth and tell the world what you are about to do, the world begins to test you, doubt you, distract you, and sometimes even destroy the dream before it has a chance to breathe. So listen carefully, because this one decision, whether you speak too early or stay silent, can decide the entire direction of your life. When you are young, when you are hungry, when your heart is full of ideas and your mind is full of impossible dreams, you feel an uncontrollable urge to tell everyone around you what you are going to build, who you are going to become, and how big your future will be. You tell your friends, your relatives, your classmates, sometimes even strangers, because you think sharing your dream will give you energy, support, and motivation. But most of the time, what you receive is not fuel, it is friction. People smile politely, but inside they measure you against who you are today, not who you are becoming. They listen with their fears, not with your faith. They respond with their limitations, not with your potential. I learned very early that the world does not reward intentions, it rewards results. Nobody claps for the seed. They clap for the tree that gives shade and fruit. When you talk too much about your plans, you create noise before substance. You invite opinions before progress. You allow people to sit in judgment over a future they do not understand and a journey they are not willing to walk. Silence, on the other hand, gives you space. Silence gives you protection. Silence allows your idea to grow roots before it faces storms. Most people will never tell you directly that they do not believe in you. They will say things like, be realistic, think carefully, or maybe later. These words sound caring, but they are often soaked in fear. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of change. When you share your plans too early, you carry not only your own fear, but the fear of everyone who hears you. And fear is heavy. It slows your steps. It makes you question yourself when you should be moving forward. There is something very dangerous about talking instead of doing. Talking gives your brain a false sense of achievement. You feel productive because you have explained the idea so well. You feel confident because people listened. But nothing has actually changed. No action has been taken. No skill has been built. No risk has been faced. And slowly, without realizing it, your words replace your work. Your mouth runs faster than your feet. And your dream stays exactly where it started. When you stay silent, you shift all that energy inward. Instead of explaining, you experiment. Instead of convincing, you create. Instead of seeking validation, you seek improvement. Silence forces you to confront reality. There is no applause, no encouragement, no external pressure to look successful. There is only you, your discipline, and your commitment. That is where real growth happens. People often misunderstand silence. They think silence means weakness, lack of confidence, or confusion. In reality, silence is often the loudest signal of focus. The most dangerous people are not the ones who talk about what they will do, but the ones who quietly prepare. History is full of examples of individuals who worked in obscurity, ignored skepticism, and emerged when their work was ready, not when their words were impressive. When you tell everyone your plans, you also make yourself vulnerable to comparison. Someone will always say they are doing something bigger, faster, or better. Someone will always question your timeline, your resources, your ability. Comparison steals joy and clarity. Silence protects your unique path. It allows you to move at your own pace, make mistakes privately, and learn without the weight of expectations. Another truth most people do not want to hear is that not everyone wants you to succeed. Some people are comfortable with you as you are because your growth forces them to confront their stagnation. When you announce big plans, you unintentionally threaten the comfort of others. They may discourage you not out of hate, but out of self-defense. Silence avoids unnecessary resistance. I have seen many people with brilliant ideas fail not because the idea was wrong, but because they talked too much and acted too little. They spent years refining explanations instead of building prototypes. They waited for approval instead of testing reality. They listened to opinions instead of customers. The world does not care how many people know your plan. The world cares about whether your plan works. There is also a spiritual aspect to silence. When you work quietly, you develop patience. You learn humility. You understand that success is not instant and that progress is often invisible before it becomes obvious. You stop chasing attention and start chasing mastery. You stop performing and start becoming. When the time is right, When the work is done, when the value is real, you will not need to announce anything. Your results will speak for you. Opportunities will come to you without you asking. People who once doubted you will suddenly claim they believed in you all along. But by then, their opinions will no longer matter because you will be standing on a foundation built by discipline, not words. Silence also teaches you resilience. When nobody knows what you are doing, failure becomes a teacher instead of a humiliation. You can fall, stand up and adjust without the embarrassment of public expectations. You can pivot without explaining. You can restart without apologizing. This freedom is priceless. Many young people ask how to stay motivated when nobody knows their dream. The answer is simple but difficult. You must become your own source of belief. You must learn to work without applause. You must learn to trust the process even when there is no evidence yet. This kind of motivation is rare, but it is powerful. It does not disappear when people doubt you because it was never built on their approval. Think about a seed underground. It does not announce that it will become a tree. It does not complain about the darkness. It focuses on growth. It pushes roots deeper. It absorbs nutrients quietly. One day, without warning, it breaks through the surface and everyone is surprised by how strong it is. But the strength was built in silence. When you speak less and do more, you also listen better. You listen to your customers, your mistakes, your environment. You notice patterns others miss. You adapt faster because you are not attached to a public promise. You are attached to progress. There will be moments when you feel misunderstood, when people think you are doing nothing, when they underestimate you because you are quiet. Let them. Their underestimation is your advantage. It reduces pressure. It gives you room to grow. It keeps distractions away. Do not confuse secrecy with fear. You are not hiding because you are afraid to fail. You are protecting your focus because you are serious about succeeding. There is a big difference. Fear avoids action. Silence prepares for action. One day, when your work is ready, when your vision has taken shape, when your value is undeniable, you will speak, not to explain your plans, but to share your journey. And when you speak, then people will listen, not because of your words, but because of the evidence behind them. Until that day, wake up early, work when others sleep, learn when others talk, build when others doubt, improve when others criticize. Stay silent, not because you have nothing to say, but because you have something important to do. The strongest confidence is quiet. The deepest ambition is patient. The most powerful success stories begin far away from the spotlight, in rooms where nobody is watching, where mistakes are frequent, where progress is slow, and where commitment is tested every single day. If you truly believe in your dream, protect it. Not everyone deserves to hear it. Not everyone needs to understand it. Not everyone should have access to something that is still fragile. Grow first, prove second, speak last. Because when you finally step forward, when your work finally stands on its own, you will realize that silence was not empty at all. It was full of preparation, struggle, learning, and quiet courage. And that quiet courage is what turns ordinary people into forces the world cannot ignore, forces that rise. Not from noise, but from consistency, from discipline, from days that look small and invisible, from nights filled with doubt yet followed by action, from a belief that did not need witnesses, from a journey that did not need approval, from a vision that stayed alive not because it was shared, but because it was protected, nurtured, tested, refined, and carried forward step by step until the moment it was strong enough to stand on its own without explanation, without permission, without announcement, just existing as proof that the quiet path, the patient path, the unseen path was never empty. It was simply becoming. There is a quiet wisdom echoed across generations, a truth whispered through time, that what is planted in secret is rewarded in the open. And this is not just poetry or belief. It is a principle that governs growth itself. Anything that is rushed into the light before it is ready withers under pressure. Anything that is exposed before it is strengthened becomes vulnerable. Your dream is no different. It requires seasons of preparation, seasons of patience, seasons where nothing seems to happen, yet everything is happening beneath the surface. In silence, you begin to hear your own conscience more clearly. When the noise of outside voices fades, you are forced to confront why you started in the first place. Not for applause, not for recognition, not to impress, but because something inside you refused to stay small. Silence strips away false motivation. ND leaves only what is real. and what survives that process is strong enough to endure the long road ahead. There will be days when progress feels invisible, when effort does not immediately translate into reward, when you question whether the quiet path is worth it. But understand this deeply. Transformation rarely announces itself while it is happening. Strength is formed in resistance. Character is shaped in waiting. Wisdom is refined in restraint. What feels slow is often stable. What feels delayed is often deliberate. Those who rush to speak often rush to quit. Those who move quietly learn endurance. They build habits when others chase excitement. They remain consistent when others need validation. And consistency, more than talent or luck, is what separates temporary success from lasting impact. There is also a sacred responsibility that comes with vision. Not every vision is meant to be shared at every stage. Just as a child is protected before it can defend itself, your idea needs guardianship. When you speak too soon, you allow careless hands to touch something that is still forming. Silence is not isolation, it is stewardship. Many people fail because they try to carry their dream in public before they have learned how to carry it alone. They collapse under questions they cannot yet answer, under expectations they did not yet earn. But when you walk quietly, you grow into the answers. You earn the confidence to stand firm when questioned. You gain the clarity to explain without shaking. There is an ancient understanding that faith without work is empty, and work without patience is reckless. Silence sits between the two. It is where faith matures into discipline. It is where belief turns into behavior. You stop hoping things will change and start changing things. One small action at a time, unseen but intentional. When no one is watching, your integrity is revealed. Do you still show up? Do you still try? Do you still improve? These moments define you more than any public success ever could. The unseen hours are the ones that decide the visible outcome. The world only meets the finished version, never the nights of uncertainty that shaped it. Let others mistake your quietness for weakness. Let them think you lack ambition because you lack announcements. While they are busy measuring words, you are measuring progress. While they are debating possibilities, you are reducing errors. While they are seeking attention, you are sharpening skill. And when discouragement comes, and it will, remember this, even the greatest journeys pass through valleys. Silence teaches you how to walk through them without losing direction. It teaches you that setbacks are not signs to stop, but signals to adjust. That closed doors are not rejection, but redirection. That waiting is not punishment, but preparation. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not failing because no one sees you yet. Growth does not follow human timelines. It follows reading. S. When the time comes, no force can hide what is meant to rise. What is built with care cannot be ignored forever. One day, your quiet work will collide with opportunity. And when that moment arrives, you will be ready. Not because you talked about it, but because you lived it. You will move with calm instead of panic, with wisdom instead of ego, with purpose instead of noise. People will ask how it happened so suddenly, unaware that suddenly was years in the making. Until then, honor the process. Protect your focus. Guard your spirit. Keep your circle small and your discipline strong. Let your actions become your language. Let your consistency become your signature. Let your patience become your power. Because in a world addicted to noise, the one who masters silence gains depth. In a world chasing shortcuts, the one who respects process builds legacy. And in a world where many speak promises, the one who arrives with proof carries authority that cannot be questioned. Stay quiet. Stay faithful to the work. Stay committed when no one claps. What is meant to grow will grow. What is meant to last will endure. And what is built in silence will one day speak with a voice so strong that no introduction will be necessary. There is a deeper test hidden inside silence, one that few people talk about, and that is the test of obedience to your own calling. When no one is watching, when no one is cheering, when no one is expecting anything from you, do you still move forward? Thigh. S is where purpose is separated from excitement. Excitement needs an audience. Purpose does not. Purpose moves even when the path feels lonely because it is guided by conviction, not applause. In the quiet, you begin to understand that delay is not denial. Just because something has not happened yet does not mean it will not happen. Time is not your enemy. impatience is. Many people abandon their journey not because they lack ability, but because they cannot endure the waiting. They mistake the season of preparation for failure. But every meaningful outcome is preceded by a period where nothing looks impressive from the outside. There is a truth echoed through wisdom and faith alike. What is entrusted to the faithful grows. Faithfulness is not loud. It does not announce itself. It shows up again and again, doing the same small things with excellence, even when they seem insignificant. Small steps taken consistently in the right direction will always outperform dramatic moves fueled by emotion. Silence also protects you from pride. When success comes too early, before humility is formed, it can destroy you faster than failure ever could. Quiet work shapes character alongside competence. It teaches you gratitude before recognition, responsibility before reward. It ensures that when success finally arrives, it does not own you. You own it. Many people want visibility before maturity, influence before wisdom, reward before refinement. But life does not work that way. Responsi. Ability expands only when capacity is built. The weight of success is heavy, and those who rush to carry it without preparation often collapse under its pressure. Silence strengthens your shoulders before the load is placed upon you. When you walk quietly, you also learn discernment. You learn when to move and when to wait, when to speak and when to remain still. Not every opportunity is meant to be taken. Not every door is meant to be opened. Some distractions look like blessings until they pull you away from what truly matters. Silence sharpens your ability to choose wisely. There will be moments when doubt whispers that your effort is unnoticed, that your sacrifice is meaningless. In those moments, remember this: nothing done with sincerity is ever wasted. Seeds do not sprout the moment they are planted, but they are already alive beneath the soil. Growth is happening even when you cannot measure it. Your quiet discipline is shaping something far greater than a result. It is shaping you. It is building resilience in your spirit, clarity in your mind, strength in your habits. Long after goals are achieved, these qualities remain. They become the foundation for everything that follows. One of the greatest freedoms silence gives you is independence from opinion. When you stop announcing your intentions, you stop negotiating your future with people who have no responsibility for the outcome. You reclaim ownership of your journey. You move forward without constantly looking over your shoulder for approval. And when setbacks come, you no longer see them as public failures, but private lessons. You extract wisdom instead of embarrassment. You grow instead of retreating. Silence turns pain into progress. Eventually, a moment will come when your preparation meets opportunity. It may not look like what you imagined. It may come quietly without ceremony, but you will recognize it because you have trained yourself to see beyond noise. And when that moment arrives, you will not hesitate. You will step forward with calm confidence, grounded in experience, not theory. People will say you are lucky. They will say it happened overnight. They will not see the years of restraint, the nights of discipline, the mornings of quiet resolve. But that is the nature of real success. It reveals itself suddenly, but it is built slowly. Continue to honor the unseen work. Continue to choose discipline over display, growth over gossip, action over announcement. Let your life become evidence that silence was never emptiness, but preparation filled with intention. Because in the end, it is not the loudest voice that shapes the future, but the most consistent effort. And those who learn to build without speaking learn how to rise without falling. There is a moment in every quiet journey where temptation appears, not as failure, but as exposure. You will feel the urge to prove yourself, to finally let people know how far you've come, to speak so they can see you different. Fly. This is a delicate moment, because sometimes the greatest test is not whether you can endure obscurity, but whether you can resist revealing what is still unfolding. Wisdom knows that timing is everything. A truth spoken too early can become a burden instead of a blessing. In the stillness, you begin to realize that growth changes your appetite. You stop craving attention and start craving alignment. You care less about being seen and more about being ready. Your questions change. Instead of asking, do they believe in me? You ask, am I becoming who I need to be? This shift is subtle, but it transforms everything. It moves you from performance to purpose, from appearance to substance. There is a sacred pattern woven into life itself. First the forming, then the revealing. Nothing meaningful skips this order. Even light waits for darkness to define its brilliance. Even strength waits for resistance to shape it. You may feel hidden, but hidden does not mean forgotten. It often means protected. Some battles are won before they are ever seen, in decisions made privately, in discipline chosen daily, in character refined quietly. Silence also teaches you how to trust beyond what you can control. When you stop announcing your plans, you stop trying to manage how others perceive your journey. You surrender the need to explain delays, setbacks, or changes. This surrender is powerful. It frees your energy. It allows you to focus on what you can do today instead of defending what you hope to do tomorrow. As time passes, you will notice something remarkable. The very people who once distracted you with opinions slowly fade into the background. Not because they changed, but because you did. Your attention became more valuable, and you stopped spending it on noise. Focus sharpens vision. Vision clarifies direction. Direction builds momentum. There will be sacrifices that no one applauds, choices that look foolish to others, paths that seem longer than necessary. But meaning is rarely found in shortcuts. Depth is earned, not rushed. And the star, angst you're building now, will one day support responsibilities you cannot yet imagine. What feels heavy today is training you for a greater weight tomorrow. Do not underestimate the power of staying aligned when no one is watching. Integrity practiced in silence becomes authority in public. When your inner life matches your outer results, you move with peace, not pressure. You do not fear exposure because there is nothing to hide. You do not fear success because you are prepared for it. There will come a time when words are required, when leadership demands voice, when influence calls you forward. But by then, your words will carry weight because they are backed by experience. You will speak not from ambition, but from understanding. Not to impress, but to serve. Silence will have taught you restraint, and restraint will give your voice clarity. Until that time, continue to build with intention. Continue to choose depth over speed. Let patience shape your character. Let discipline refine your habits. Let faith anchor your resolve. You are not unseen. You are in process. And process is where potential becomes reality. What you are becoming matters more than what you announce. What you are building matters more than what you promise. Stay faithful to the work entrusted to you. Stay humble in progress. Stay steady in uncertainty. The quiet path may feel long, but it leads to a place where confidence is unshakable, where success is sustainable, and where your presence speaks. Case. Before your words ever do, there is also a quiet discipline that grows inside you when you stop explaining yourself. A strength that comes from trusting the path, even when it makes no sense to anyone else. You begin to understand that not every step will be understood, and not every choice needs to be justified. Some directions are only clear to those who are meant to walk them. This understanding frees you from the exhausting need to defend your vision to people who will never carry its weight. In this quiet commitment, you learn to separate urgency from importance. The world pushes urgency, quick wins, fast praise, instant results, but importance often moves slowly. Importance asks for patience, for depth, for roots that go down before branches reach out. When you stay silent, you give importance the time it requires. You stop chasing what looks impressive and start building what lasts. There is a kind of faith that grows only when outcomes are uncertain, when you cannot predict how things will unfold. When there is no guarantee of recognition or reward, your reasons are purified. You learn to walk by conviction rather than by sight. You keep moving not because success is visible, but because the work itself has meaning. This kind of faith does not collapse when circumstances change. It adapts and continues. Silence also teaches you responsibility. When no one knows your plans, you cannot blame anyone for delays. You cannot rely on encouragement to keep going. You take all ownership of your progress and your mistakes. This ownership is powerful. It matures you. It turns excuses into lessons and intentions into habits. You may notice that as you grow quietly, your tolerance for distraction decreases. You become more selective with your time, your energy, your conversations. You realize that attention is a currency, and you stop spending it on things that do not move you forward. This is not arrogance, it is clarity. When purpose sharpens, distractions lose their appeal. There will be moments when loneliness tries to convince you that silence is emptiness. But loneliness is often a sign that you are being shaped for something different. Growth sometimes requires separation, not because others are unworthy, but because you need space to become who you are meant to be. Even the strongest paths require solitude at certain stages. As you continue, you begin to see how quietly built strength creates stability. You are no longer shaken by small setbacks or delayed outcomes. You have learned that progress is not always loud, and victory is not always immediate. You measure success differently now, not by how fast things happen, but by how deeply they are rooted. One day, your consistency will intersect with trust. People will rely on you, not because you speak confidently, but because you have proven reliable. They will see that you move with intention, not impulse, that you act with wisdom, not reaction, that you understand timing, not just ambit. Ion. What you are cultivating now is discernment, the ability to recognize when to act, when to wait, and when to let go. Discernment is born in silence. It cannot survive in constant noise. It requires stillness, reflection, and the humility to listen before moving. So continue forward without announcing every step. Let your progress surprise even you. Allow your work to mature fully before it is revealed. Keep choosing what is right over what is visible, what is lasting over what is loud, what is true over what is praised. You are not walking unnoticed. You are being refined. And refinement is never rushed. It unfolds with intention, with patience, with quiet perseverance, shaping a future that does not need explanation, a presence that does not need validation, and a strength that does not depend on being seen to be real. There comes a stage where silence no longer feels like restraint, but like strength, where you no longer feel the urge to announce progress, because the progress itself is carrying you forward. You begin to sense an inner steadiness, a calm that does not depend on outcomes. This is where maturity lives. You stop reacting to every signal from the outside and start responding only to what aligns with your deeper purpose. In this space, you learn that not every blessing arrives loudly. Some arrive as endurance. Some arrive as wisdom gained through hardship. Some arrive as clarity after confusion. These blessings do not impress crowds, but they prepare you for our moments that will demand more than talent. They prepare you for responsibility, for leadership, for impact that reaches beyond personal success. There is an ancient truth that those who are faithful in small things are entrusted with greater things. The small things are rarely visible. They are the daily choices to improve a skill, to correct a weakness, to show integrity when cutting corners would be easier. Silence magnifies the importance of these choices. Without an audience, you discover who you really are. You also begin to understand that timing is a form of wisdom. Rushing reveals insecurity. Patience reveals confidence. When you trust the process, you are not afraid of waiting because you know what you are building cannot be taken from you. What is earned through discipline stays. What is gained through shortcuts fades. As you continue quietly, your perception of success changes. It is no longer about proving something to others. It becomes about fulfilling what was placed within you. You measure progress not by recognition, but by alignment. Not by applause, but by peace. This internal measure keeps you steady when external conditions shift. There will be moments when the road narrows, when options reduce, when the way forward demands sacrifice. Silence gives you the courage to choose the harder right over the easier wrong. It reminds you that growth often requires letting go of comfort, of familiarity, of expectations that no longer fit who you are becoming. When uncertainty surrounds you, silence becomes a refuge. It allows you to reflect instead of react, to pray instead of panic, to prepare instead of complain. In stillness, you regain perspective. You remember that storms do not last forever, but what they shape often does. Over time, something powerful happens. You stop chasing certainty and start trusting direction. You may not know every step ahead, but you know the next one, and that is enough. Faith is not knowing the full path. It is taking the next step with confidence that the path will unfold. People who walk this way develop quiet authority. They do not need to dominate conversations. Their presence carries weight. Their words are measured. Their actions are deliberate. When they speak, it is not to announce potential, but to reflect experience. The discipline of silence also sharpens gratitude. You become thankful for progress others may overlook. You celebrate inner victories, self-control, consistency, clarity that no one else sees. These victories compound over time, creating a strength that does not crack under pressure. You are being shaped for moments when others will look to you for dear action, for steadiness, for wisdom. And when that time comes, it will not matter how loudly you once spoke about your plans. What will matter is that you were ready, that you were grounded, that you were formed in seasons where faith was tested and commitment was proven. So keep walking forward without rushing the reveal. Let the work finish its work. Let the lessons sink deep. Let patience complete what haste would ruin. There is a depth being built within you that cannot be manufactured in public view, a resilience that only quiet perseverance can produce, a strength that grows not from being seen, but from staying faithful when visibility was absent, when recognition was delayed, when belief had to be renewed daily, when the only witness to your effort was the quiet resolve that kept you moving, even when no one else knew how far you had already come.